All right, so let's back to the Soomla initializer here. And we were talking about the wake function and start method, and we have here something related to the store events. And inside the store events here, we're talking about 2 or 3 methods, and the first method is on SoomlaStore initialized, and we call this method once the SoomlaStore is initialized. So let's just go to this method here. It's a method inside this class, so we can just load here, and you can see we have this method here called onSoomlaStore is initialized, and this method is first called once the store is initialized. So we give something called StartApp and also here we play background audio, and also we initialize the scene UI change, and we also show the main banner. And what do we mean by each of these methods here? First, let's talk about the GiveStarterItems. Here inside the GiveStarterItems, we just check if the player has the first character. So if the player has the first character, we need to give them a first character as an initialized or as an initial starter item. So we give it an item. In order to give item for the player, we just first we need to check if this item is, or if this item balance is equal 0. This means that we don't have this item yet, and the balance of it is 0, so this means that this item has not been given to the user. Alright, so it's unpurchased, or it's not purchased, so we need to give it this item for free. So we check if the balance of this item is 0, we need to give it for the user for free. So we check this if store inventory dot get item balance for the as example, the character 1, the item ID, which is basically character 1 is let me just show you that here. We have something called character 1, and it's here. Yeah, it's a virtual good, and yeah, we just check if this item balance is 0, we just gonna give it to the user for free. So we use this method, store inventory, the give item. We have another function called take item. So when you give item, you have to select the ID of the item. We use the character model item ID, which is the ID that we define for this character, and we give it the balance. So we need to give one item for this product. So this means that we give the first item, initial item, to the user. After this, we have also to give another starter item related to let me just remove this here. Here we need to check if the store inventory get item balance for the life is 0. So when we start the game, the value of the life will be 0 for the user. So we check if the life value of the life balance is 0. We need to give it initial life of 20. So here we give item to the user, and after that we go to the game and find the live text. So what do we mean by a live text? If you go here, you go menu, for example, we have something called live. And what do we mean by live? Live is just basically this item here. So notice the item here, the live, got coin, which is an image, and also got text. So this is a UI component, and we need to change the text value of this live text. So all what you have to do, just go game object, find the live text, the get component, and you just change it to text. And after that, you set the text to the initial live, as you can see here. And we need also to use another thing here called player preferences. So we need to use player preferences inside the game. So player preferences is one of the Unity engine features, and you can use it in order to store value as key value pair. So in case you want to save something and you want to check if that something is saved or not, this is considered as player preferences. Like you want to save the number of lives, and you want, when you back to the game, you're just gonna restore that. You can use the player preferences, or you can use Soomla key value storage here as you want, and also you can use the store inventory in order to retrieve this value. But I here implemented this using player preferences in order to let you use this value not only inside the SoomlaStore, but in scenes without any SoomlaStore. So you can retrieve the value from the player preferences here. So we use player preferences if this player preferences has the key of life. Okay, if it's not, I mean, if this life has not been initialized yet inside the player preferences, we have to update the player preferences value. So we use player preferences set init for life, and we give it the initial life value here 20, and after that we just save the player preferences. So next time we're just gonna call this GiveStarted method. We're not gonna execute this function because we have already this has been already given, and also the life item is not 0, so I'm not gonna go through this anymore. So this is just for initializing for the first time we initialized the game on the device or here on the side Unity. Also, after we call the GiveStarted method, we're just gonna call the AudioContorller. So inside the game we have something called AudioContorller, and AudioContorller is just basically a class here inside the game, and we give it as an AudioContorller here. So AudioContorller is a class. I'm just gonna show you how to use it later on in the following lessons, but it's a singleton audio controller, multi-layer singleton. So we have here 3 layers. We have layer that we can play one-shot audio, we can play background audio, and also we can play foreground audio. So we're just gonna explore that together. Here we just call this method AudioContorller instance the play background audio in order to play the music once we start the game. So we just call this method. Also here we have other thing called Soomla scene handler, and we use the initialize scene UI changes, and we just gonna explain this to you. What do we mean by an Soomla scene handler in the next lesson. Here we're talking about other thing. Here we just want to show the ad. So once we start the game, we have a banner. I don't know if you noticed that in the main scene here we have a banner. So we need to show this ad inside the banner. So we call this method. So right now we use the StartApp, but you can customize the project and work with any other ads provider. Here, while I use StartApp, you can take a look at the extra resources in this section and get a link for StartApp and why to use it as your monetization ads platform. So it's one of the greatest, and that's why I use it here, and that's why I implemented it inside the Mindizor project. So we're just gonna explain later on what do we mean by main ads controller, but my way of explanation here is step by step. I'm trying to explain things to you from the top-down approach. So we just, because I find this the best way to explain things for my students in my life career. So I hope you're just gonna like this video, guys. Don't forget to see the next video. We're just gonna get started with talking about the Soomla handler and how to why do we need Soomla handler across our game and how to use it in the next lesson. Thank you guys again for watching this video. See you in the next lesson. And we just forget to say something about concurrency balance change. So this function is another function here. We just put it here, but we didn't implement anything here because we have handled this inside another scene, so inside another script inside our project here. So we're just gonna explore that together. And here we got also another unexpected store error. Here we can use Soomla utility in order to log the error with the error code here. And here also the enumerator, we just hide the overlay after 2 seconds here, just in case there's a problem with Soomla loading. So we just make sure that nothing stuck on the game. So this is pretty much all the things that we have. We start this core routine by using this method, and this way we just finished with the first Soomla initializer. Here we're just going to move on to another scene initializer and explore the different items, and after that we're just going to move to talk about store controller and store view and the different items of Soomla in this project. So thank you again guys for watching this lesson. See you in the next video.